Well, I've had a really rough few days. Hi, Molly. She's completely obsessed. I love you, Mummy. I need you, Mummy. Can I have you, Mummy? Can you touch me, Mummy? Yeah, she's so cute though. Yeah, just a little bit needy, but then she's come from a very traumatic background, haven't you, baby? Yeah, and she settled down compared to what she was when we first got her. Haven't you? Yeah, she said I have, and I'm very cute. You're beautiful. Yes, you are. Yeah, spoiled and beautiful. They're all spoiled, to be fair. Yeah, anyway, I was saying, I've had a really rough few days. Gosh, it's really weird because I dreamt about it last night. It's really weird, but 15 years ago, I collapsed. It was about this time of year, actually. Had really bad vertigo for about 6 weeks, and I was so poorly. I couldn't get out of bed, I couldn't stand up. I had so many really bad accidents. So I fell through my banister because I lost my balance going down the stairs because I was spinning out, and I used to end up on the floor retching because I felt so sick. I remember my partner at the time having to bring me a bowl because I was retching so bad I thought I was going to throw up. And eventually the doctor was like, this isn't right. It's not an inner ear infection, and, it's not labyrinthitis or whatever they call it. It's not all the things they thought it could be. And I got referred to a neurologist. And I had so many tests. I had MRIs because I thought I had Meniere's disease at first. And then the first MRI showed that I had lesions in my right cerebellum and my left cerebellum and my deep right hemisphere. And he thought they might be MS related. So he did another finer sliced MRI. And that showed I had slight changes. So he decided to do all these other tests. So I had a VEP one where you sit in front of lights and they go off. And then I had one where they stick electrodes to my head and then they put warm water in your ear and you see how your brain reacts to it. And I had a lumbar puncture. And they showed I had O-rings, but then my blood test showed I had systemic inflammatory responses. And so they were kind of well, I'm not sure that it is MS, to be honest, because we think that this has all been caused by inflammation. And I was still having really bad vertigo, but they put me on this medicine, which did help at the time. And that's when I first got diagnosed with an ME. And when I saw the Sjogren's consultant, she was not convinced that that's what it was. She's wondering if it's all connected. So she's actually looking at those tests to investigate. It might be that I have to have some more tests. I've had some with her, which I'm waiting the results from. But anyway, the reason why I tell that story, because it's a history, is that I've always since then suffered with mild vertigo. I haven't had such severe vertigo as I did at the beginning when I was really bad. Not as bad as that. I have mild vertigo, and it's usually first thing in the morning. Sometimes it happens in the night when I go to the toilet, but it settles down. And then in the morning, if I have vertigo, when I sit down, that's why it takes me so long to get ready in the mornings, because I quite often get what I call a morning spinny thing, and it usually settles down by the time I've had my second coffee. And it's just something that I've kind of put up with for 15 years because I've had medication, and the medication always ended up making me feel more ill. So I basically say, morning, Bailey. She's come to say hello. She always does this when I'm on video. It's really weird. Let's see. Good morning, beautiful girl. She's so beautiful. Anyway, I digress. So it's been going on for a long time, and it's something I've learned to grow accustomed to, and never really 100% knew what was causing it. My test results said that I had like a disturbance in the balance centre, and the way my neurologist explained it to me was that my brain couldn't communicate with my balance centre properly, and so sometimes it would go on the fritz and then I'd have the vertigo. So I had like lots of physiotherapy with a specialist team who usually deal with people who've had strokes. And they sort of taught me little coping mechanisms, and I do try to put them into place. Like I have to try and balance my brain. And like the worst thing you can do, like when you're having vertigo, is to sit down and rest all the time, because you have to try and get your brain to compensate. So you have to kind of like stand up and walk around, you know, safely. Like if you need a stick, use a stick, because, you know, you are at danger of falling with vertigo. That's the thing. So, you know, I have a stick that I can use in the house when I'm bad, and that stops me falling over. And then obviously I use a stick as well when my legs and everything is bad anyway. Well, the last few days I've had a flare of this vertigo. So it's not just been like a morning thing or a little odd spinny when I'm out and about, which does happen as well. It was a full-on vertigo flare. So for 3 days I couldn't walk properly, and like day before yesterday I couldn't even move anything without the whole room spinning out. It was horrible. And I bloody ran out of my medicine. And because I was bloody pharmacy to you, it takes forever for you to get it. It can take like 7 days. Bloody nightmare. So anyway, I managed to get some, I think it's called I managed to get some advice, and they said to get some Bucastam, I think it is, from over the counter. So I'm going to get some of that, because I'm still not 100%. I just like feel a bit like on the peripherals, not quite fully there. Work were obviously not very happy that I've taken more time off, because I've had a lot of time off since I've been there, which obviously I can't help. But, you know, it's a fairly new job, and I can understand them being frustrated with me, because I seem to have been quite sickly lately. But there's not a lot I can do about that. And also, you know, I'm still waiting for the consultant as well, so there isn't a lot I could do. But anyway, I had a weird random thought this morning about, do you remember like doctors having those little cardboard envelopes, and all your details are on the envelope, and then all your notes are inside the envelope? Do you remember that? Because it's been so long since they've had computers, but I remember that, them picking up my little envelope, and then they'd have this little, and they'd make all these notes and then put it in the envelope. I remember that. Now I can actually sign into my doctors, and I can read everything they've put. I can even order medication and book appointments through it. It's all different now, but yeah, that was such a random thought. And then I had a really strange dream about, because I used to work for years and years, I used to work for Blockbuster Video. And eventually I did run the local branch for a while. And then I got headhunted by Timpson's Shoes, and I regret leaving. It was shit. I should have just stayed where I was, but, you know, we all make mistakes. I wanted the money, if I'm honest, because, you know, Blockbuster Video didn't pay brilliantly, but even back then, and I was offered like quite a lot more money, so that's one of the reasons why I left. But I only stayed there a couple of years, because when I got pregnant with my daughter, and I went on maternity leave, I never went back. I decided to stay at home with her for about quite a long time. She was just about to go to school, so she was about 4. So I had about 4 years off with her, which I didn't get the chance to do with my son. Anyway, the weird dream is that Blockbuster Video never really existed, and that everybody that worked there had been like abducted in some way and had played a part, almost like the video shop wasn't really there, but we were doing what you're supposed to do in the video shop. And then when we left, it was like we'd only left 5 minutes ago, but we'd aged in the time. And I remember like this bloke saying there's so many people with stories about it, and there was this big folder of photographs, and I was trying to find my colleagues in the big folder of photographs saying that they will be panicking as well because they'd only just left themselves, because I'd only just left, so they'd only just left, so they would be panicking. They probably wouldn't be in the folder because they hadn't been discovered as one of the people that had been abducted. And then that made me think, like when I woke up, I was thinking about all my ex-colleagues, because over the years I've had some cracking colleagues, in Blockbuster particularly. I had like my best friend, Rob, and I can talk about him and I explain why. We used to have such laughs. He was so tiny. I mean, I'm only 5'4", but he was like, he must have been 4'9" or something. He was such a tiny bloke, but really sturdy. And he has so many laughs. We were always laughing and having giggles. And he has such a lovely girlfriend. She was so sweet. And I think they had a little one. And she'd not been very well. Anyway, we used to have some funny things. And we used to have this colleague. I can't say his name because I don't want to sort of like, because they all have lives now. But anyway, we had this one colleague, and oh my God, we used to have such fun together, him and Rob. And we used to do like elastic fights around the video aisles. When I was the manager, I was supposed to be setting a good example, but I never did. I was terrible. But it used to be Ritz Video before it became Blockbuster Video. And God, I worked there for a good portion of the 90s. And it was so much fun. But the sad thing was that Rob got meningitis, and then he got septicemia, and he passed away. And I was devastated. And it didn't help that in that kind of 6-month period, so it's like we're talking 21 years ago now, but in that 6-month period, my dad had died in the November, and then I was getting divorced. I was losing my home because my husband got made redundant and couldn't afford to pay his part of the mortgage. And I tried to get a mortgage, but I wasn't earning enough to take over the mortgage. So I was devastated because I loved my house. And then my best work buddy died, because he's like my best friend at work. And he died, and I was absolutely devastated. He was such an awesome bloke. But it was like the second time I'd worked at Blockbuster, because the first time I'd done like loads of stuff, and then the second time I worked with this other, I'd gone back. I came back to there. I worked in the post office first after my daughter went to school, and then went back to Blockbuster. I know I worked in the uniform shop first. God, so many little jobs because I worked in retail a lot. But yeah, I worked in the uniform shop, and I did not get on very well with the owner. He was an absolute twat. And then I went back to Blockbuster. But after Rob died, it just felt, I just really struggled to carry on working there, because every time I turned around, he was there. And I had this lush colleague, really tall. So they were like little and large when they worked together. It was so funny. She was really tall. She was about 6'2". She was awesome. I used to work a lot with her. I still see her sometimes out and about. She's so tall you can't miss her. And she was lush as well. It was so hot in there. I remember that in the summer. It's really boiling. So these huge glass windows. It's a Coffee One now, and they've put in windows that they can open, and I know why, because it gets freaking boiling in there. That's why they put these massive doors in instead, you know, where the windows are, so they can literally open it up because it gets so boiling hot. Because it is a nightmare. And yeah, they were good times, really good times. I really love working there. I liked working in Curry's as well. That was another one I liked. The manager was lovely there, really nice. And I had lovely colleagues, really lovely colleagues. And I loved all the techie stuff. So I'm totally a gadget addict. I love all that stuff. But God, yeah. It does bring back memories, doesn't it? It makes you think about everything. I do wonder where they are sometimes, like some of my colleagues, because I haven't seen... I used to bump into them sometimes. I know where one of them is because his dad owns a massive, humongous motorcycle shop. And I see him often on his motorbike, and I've seen him a couple of times in Tesco's. And I see one of them out and about. But there is one that I was quite close to that I often wonder where he is. We just got on really well, just really nice mates, really lovely. And I know one of them's a manager in Waitrose, and her husband's like a big manager in there as well. So yeah, I used to see her quite a lot because I worked there for 6 months, so I saw her a bit. I was like, no way, I can't believe you're here. Anyway, yeah, so I've been very ill for about 3 days. Really, really bad vertigo, but it's getting better. I feel a lot better. Yesterday I felt a lot better. Still felt quite groggy yesterday. I feel a bit more with it today. Anyway, I hope you're having a good week, and I shall see you soon.